Are you ready to launch your success in the land business? If you are, I want to tell you about the Land.MBA Accelerator Program. So many programs teach you theory and process, but leave it up to you to figure out how to execute. The Land.MBA Accelerator Program is different than anything else out there because it doesn't just teach you what you need to know, it drives you to turn knowledge into action. Layered on top of our end-to-end land business essentials video course, the Accelerator is a 6-week intensive small group course that goes deep on the most important topics like county selection, pricing, marketing, and more. In each session, you'll get specific assignments to turn what you learn into the right actions at the right times. So go to land.mba/accelerator. That's land.mba/accelerator and use coupon code podcast to get the accelerator plus a 1-year subscription to the Land.MBA Mastermind program and 25% off all our other courses in our catalog for 1 year. Courses such as the Advanced Master Your Pricing course. You'll also get $100 off of Price Boss, the premier pricing tool in the industry. Our May session is filling up fast, but we still have a few seats left. So if you're ready to launch your success, don't hesitate. Go to land.mba/accelerator today. Would you like to receive a short, easily digestible email each Friday containing the 5 coolest articles, videos, apps, and hacks that we found of interest specifically to land investors? If so, go to land.mba/newsletter to sign up, and each Friday we'll send you for free the coolest email in land investing. That's land.mba/newsletter. Hello, all you beautiful land entrepreneurs. We're so happy to have you here on the Land.MBA podcast. I am Howard Zonder with my partner, Dave Van Steenkist, and we have a great show for you today, an interview with a phenomenal guy, a phenomenal land investor who's got a great story to tell. But before we get started, I just want to say, if you could be so kind, we would be very much appreciative if you could like, comment, and subscribe, whether it's on the podcast or on the YouTube channel. That would be wonderful. Definitely make sure you subscribe so that you find out about all the new episodes coming out. But it also helps with the algorithms and the numbers, and helps us a lot too. And it doesn't cost anything, so we would really appreciate that. We are here with the one and only Kurt Chronister is it Denver? Are you in Denver, Kurt?
I'm in Denver.
In Denver, my old stomping grounds, David's current stomping grounds, and gosh, it's really great to have you on the show. We've known each other for, gosh, has it been over a year already?
Yeah, it's been just over a year actually.
Just over a year. Kurt is a Land.MBA coaching student. He's a land speed user, and but more importantly, he's and let's forget about land for a second. You're just a great entrepreneur. You just have an entrepreneur's mindset, and just tell us quickly sort of how that happened. I mean, because if I understand your background, you went to school for something very specific. You worked in that field, and somehow you said either, I'm not just going to do that. I'm going to do that and be an entrepreneur. I don't know actually the whole backstory. So tell us a little bit about how you came to land, but through the circuitous route.
Sure. So actually, when I was a kid, people would ask me what you wanted to be when I grew up. Most people were saying astronauts, firefighters, police officers, whatever. I always said I wanted to be a pharmacist. I mean, who says that? But so that's the only job I had. At 15, I went in and got a job at a local drugstore selling cigarettes out of the front of the store, and just kind of progressed my way. Went to pharmacy school, became a pharmacist, moved out to Denver, and I was a pharmacist for 20 years out here, and I was good at it. I was one of the top pharmacists, whatever, and but it was just stifling. I'm working 40 to 50 hour weeks, and never got to see my family. And I just kind of was wanting to do something different, and kind of fell into flipping houses. I accidentally flipped my first 2 houses, and just kind of got the bug after that and made a plan. And I retired from pharmacy at the end of 2019 and been doing flipping houses and doing land ever since.
Nice.
That's just hilarious because nothing says healthcare like selling cigarettes.
Right. Right. And at 15 years old, gotta love Missouri. I was in rural Missouri, so we were able to do that.
So you're pushing nicotine, and then that you graduated to pushing other big pharma.
Pushing the other chemicals. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you went from pushing you went from cigarettes to meth labs, and that might actually require a little explanation.
Yeah. So with flipping houses, you get some unique houses every once in a while that you can buy. It's not always just just put new carpet and paint and whatever. I actually bought a meth house last year at the end of last year, and that was quite the flip. Most of my flips were only take me maybe 6 weeks to get done, and this one took me almost 5 months. And so yeah, that was quite the house for sure. A lot of people walking around in the hazmat suits, and the neighbors are looking at me going, what in the crap is going on over there? And yeah, that was, none of the neighbors knew it was a meth house until all the people showed up. So yeah, it was fun.
That's
Wow.
That's awesome. Well, as they say, the riches are in the niches.
That's right. I actually am trying to get business cards made up that says cat pee smells like money. And then the got meth, I'll buy it.
Or maybe we go to the apocalypse now. I love the smell of cat piss in the morning.
There you go. Oh, that's a good one. I might steal that one.
It's worse than napalm.
It is for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, cool. And you and I met through one of the local real estate investment organizations, the RIA here, RIG. I'll plug them. Jim, there's a plug for you. And so we talked a bit, and I know you were quite successful at house flipping, also a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to kind of focus on the house flipping. What made you decide to get into land investing and adding that to one of your synergistic streams of income in real estate?
Sure. Well, with flipping houses, there's you have to find the houses to be able to flip them. And I was spending so much time, hours upon hours every day, scouring the MLS looking for potential houses just to be outbid by $50,000. I could go with the local wholesalers that are sending out 5 to 10 deals a day, but then again, I'm competing with 200 other investors driving all over town just to be outbid by $100,000. It just got old. So I was looking for a way, I was strategizing a way that I could start wholesaling for myself. So I was looking at how to send out mailers, how to do this and whatever. And at this meeting, at this local investment group, David, you got up there and just did a brief little spiel about it. And as I was listening to it, I'm like, and there's a checkbox marked. There's a checkbox marked and another one. It just, everything that about land wholesaling was exactly what I was looking for. And I thought, well, I could leverage what you had to offer with land to help supplement my flipping business. But also it didn't take me long to realize that I don't even really need to do that. There's a lot of potential money to be made in just doing land. So that was just kind of a natural progression.
Awesome.
But if I understand it correctly, you actually had a particular vision or strategy in mind of what you wanted to accomplish with land at the beginning, and it morphed over time.
Very much so. And that's kind of the way that it always kind of goes with things, isn't it? At being an entrepreneur, you have an idea. Yep, I'm going to do this particular path. And then you start going and, oh, look, there's a way that's even better, or there's a better opportunity this way. And you kind of just morph it and go. And it works. It works. There's no wrong way of doing things, in my opinion. There's just wrong ways of getting there. And it's just kind of one of those deals. I started off with wanting to wholesale land, and it just turned into, I don't need to. Yes, I can wholesale land, and yes, I can use that information to wholesale properties in Denver, but kind of like the land, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah. No math, no no, none of
No
the,
contractors robbing me.
right, no rehab.
But
Yeah.
when you started, if I remember, you had this vision of RV parks in your head.
Yeah. So that was my family. We love camping, glamping. I'll clarify that. This old boy doesn't do tents and dirts and all that stuff anymore. We take our RV all over the place. Love doing it. And I love RV parks. I like the being in an RV park with people, fellow travelers. I mean, you'll meet some interesting people, and it's really nice. So I wanted to buy like a 40-acre plot, an 80-acre plot, and develop it, pour some concrete pads, run sewer and electric out there, set up some parks and stuff like that, and make an actual RV park. And just, my wife and I, we want to live in a stick house, about 6 months out of the year, and then travel the other 6 months out of the year. And it'd be kind of cool to travel to and stay at my own RV parks. It'd be kind of neat to do that.
Yeah. And you can run the land business with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
In your laptop.
Yep.
Pretty hard to flip houses in Denver if you're in Arkansas.
That's right. That's for sure.
You got to be there.
So somehow that was sort of the original idea. And then you got into it and said, wait a second, there's a lot of money to be made just flipping dirt.
Yep. Well, so my first mailer took me forever to send out. I got everything prepared. It was all ready to go. I had 2,000 pieces, and I just sat on it. I'm super cautious in my approach to things. I really want to evaluate and make sure that everything is really tip top. I don't want to lose money if I can help it. And I just wanted to make sure that the mailer was 100% sure. So I sent out this first mailer, and I changed something right at the last second, and I screwed it up. Instead of pricing, putting the price per property for total parcel, I priced it out at price per acre. So people that were, the 10-acre lots, it was like 10 times what I was expecting to pay for it. So yeah, that was quite the,
Things blew up.
Yeah, things blew up. The phone was blowing up, but I still got a little bit out of that. But out of that first mailer, I got, I think, 4 deals out of my very first ever mailer. And, they weren't
1 acre lots, right?
Yeah. They were just 1 and 2 acre lots. Yeah. But I made a lot of money on it. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot of money, but it was enough to pay for all my coaching and all the properties, all the marketing, all the apps, everything. So great learning experience.
Yeah, that's a great story, because we were talking earlier. We were talking, I think, Howard and I were like brainstorming, new topics to talk about. One of them was, some of the big mistakes that newbies make and things like that. But that's a great testimony to mentoring and coaching. And I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to go it alone, and learn through the school of hard knocks. And they end up spending a hell of a lot more money in the long run than they do just hacking their way to success with a mentor. And I know that is a big part of your philosophy and your success. Tell me a little bit about your journey with hiring mentors and coaches, and what that's done for you in all your businesses.
Sure. So I'm actually a very firm believer in coaching, that if you do not have coaching, you are destined to fail. Yes, there are people that have done it by themselves and have made it successful, but my gosh, how much more time would you have been able to spend with your family and friends, whatever? How much more money would you have made if you would have cut out the middle and just gone straight, just a fast track to the beginning? I'm a firm believer in coaching. I have coaches. I've had a coach for almost 4 years that has been for flipping houses. I know how to flip houses. I can do it in my sleep right now. And I still have a coach to keep me on track, to keep me accountable. I have an accountability coach at my real estate office. I have a coach for my land business. It was when I got into land, there's no way I would have ever started the land business without a coach. I don't go to the gym without a coach. I do CrossFit, where there's a coach there every day telling you exactly what to do, and here's how you do the movement and everything. I don't know how to do a damn deadlift. I mean, I'd hurt my back if I did it. But if I have a coach that tells me how to do it right, all of a sudden I'm doing more than I ever probably could have on my own, and I'm not going to get hurt. So it's the same with land, with the coaching in real estate, anywhere in real estate. they're going to tell you, here's the mistakes that I've made. Here's the mistakes that you could make. Here's how to not do those. Here's how to do everything. I mean, essentially, I mean, and that was what I got with David, is that it took 100% of the guesswork out of it. I mean, yes, you were kind of, what is it? You pushed me out of the airplane and
nest and make you grow wings.
and that was exactly what happened. And it was probably one of the best experiences I've had for this. It was absolutely perfect to give me that shot in the arm for starting up my career as a land investor.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Yeah, we don't believe in just piling a bunch of book knowledge on people. We believe in give you a foundation and then just letting you go, but we're here to catch you because you learn by doing.
Yep.
Period. And why not learn while deals are coming in and making money?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that was what I really liked too, is that while there was a structure to it, it was also kind of at my own pace. I wanted to go really fast at first, and you basically stuck out that leg and tripped me a little bit because I was making some stupid rookie mistakes there without you there. But then I kind of got the hang of it, and we kind of got everything going. And yeah, that first mailer, even though I screwed it up with changing things at the last second, I still made money. And then we were able to continue the coaching through that and manage those 4 transactions and really see it through.
Yeah. And one of the things too that I admire about you, and it's important for people who want to be entrepreneurs to be successful, is to also be coachable.
Lose your ego.
Yeah, you got to be coachable. And if you come back to that first mistake you made on that mailer, you decided to do some stuff on your own, and you had a coach paid for waiting for your call, and you made the move without him. You were still coachable, but it was one of those, why didn't I just, take a little, I already sat on this thing for 2 months, but you know what? You fell in a bucket of crap and still wound up smelling like a rose.
Right.
And that's the beauty of this business. I mean, I love it because I've totally screwed up mailers and still, got maybe one deal that saved the whole thing. I mean, I got a unicorn, my best deal ever on a mailer that I made a slight mistake on. Two. We made mistakes on both of them. And, so awesome. It's just, I love it.
And I just think it's a phenomenal point, because there are a lot of different kind of people that get in this business, but you can kind of put them into buckets. There are a fair amount. I mean, you call yourself a perfectionist, but whether it's a perfectionist or somebody who's detail oriented or whatever you want to call them, these are people who are susceptible to paralysis by analysis. And, I just can't get it out until it's perfect. And they wait and they wait and they wait. And and it just prohibits them from turning knowledge into action. And then you've got other groups which are, all that stuff seems really complicated. So I'm just going to look for sort of the easier answer. I'm going to throw a bunch of spaghetti against the wall and see what's going to stick. Which also it's another extreme. But the amazing thing, and I would say this in both cases, is while neither of those approaches is maybe optimal, it's almost impossible to make a mistake that you can't recover from.
Sure.
It's just, I mean, I'm a data guy, and I like my offers to be spot on. And as more and more people get into this business, I think it's more and more important to have good pricing on your offers, because you're not the only one. You're not the only offer they're going to receive. And so whether it's how the offer is packaged, how the letter's written, or just most importantly what that number is, if you're going to get the call, it needs to be pretty good. But what you've demonstrated is that you could be off by a factor of 10. Now, if you're off by a factor of 10 on the high side, that still may generate some phone calls that you might be able to convert. If you're off by a factor of 10 on the low side, maybe not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Right.
You might still get phone calls, but they're not going to be fun ones.
That's it. And I think so. I think there's a couple of good lessons in here. One is that there are precious few mistakes that we can't overcome. And the fact, one of the things I love about you, Kurt, is that you're just a humble guy. And so, I'm sure you got on the phone and you just said, hey, I'm sorry, I kind of screwed the pooch on this one. And that price didn't come out quite right. But if you're interested in selling, I'd still love to have the conversation. And then you can have a realistic conversation because they called you. Yep. But if you make a mistake and you can't live up to it and you can't be humble enough to say, hey, mea culpa, then maybe a different person may not have been able to convert that situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very true.
Are you ready to launch your success in the land business? If you are, I want to tell you about the Land.MBA Accelerator Program. So many programs teach you theory and process, but leave it up to you to figure out how to execute. The Land.MBA Accelerator Program is different than anything else out there because it doesn't just teach you what you need to know, it drives you to turn knowledge into action. Layered on top of our end-to-end Land Business Essentials video course, the Accelerator is a 6-week intensive small group course that goes deep on the most important topics like county selection, pricing, marketing, and more. In each session, you'll get specific assignments to turn what you learn into the right actions at the right times. So go to land.mba/accelerator. That's land.mba/accelerator and use coupon code podcast to get the accelerator plus a 1-year subscription to the Land.MBA Mastermind program and 25% off all our other courses in our catalog for 1 year. Courses such as the Advanced Master Your Pricing course. You'll also get $100 off of Price Boss, the premier pricing tool in the industry. Our May session is filling up fast, but we still have a few seats left. So if you're ready to launch your success, don't hesitate. Go to land.mba/accelerator today.
The phone blowing up can be worse than the crickets sometimes because it's wasting your time and still no deals. So, the best is kind of in between. But, it's also part of the learning experience because, what's the harm in, okay, if we screw up a mailer, we blew a little bit of money, a little bit of marketing money down the tubes, but we learn from it, we move on, and everybody's going to have that. But, hopefully we can minimize those mistakes. And then, where else has mentoring helped you?
So one of the things that Howard just said one of the things that I appreciated, it wasn't anything that was actually a coaching thing, but with the coaching package, I got some of the I hope this is okay for me to say, Howard, but with the Land Speed, I got some of the templates and stuff on how to do that, how to format the mailers. I'd say about a quarter of all the properties that I've bought, when people called me to discuss and negotiate, they said that they chose to call me back over other people because of the professionalism in my mailer. And I was literally just using the template from Landspeed. I wasn't even personalizing it. I may have changed a couple words here and there, but
hopefully the address and the telephone number.
Yeah, no, yeah. Definitely wanted to do that. Didn't want you guys getting all that. But it's the professionalism of that with the package of the coaching that helped me get callbacks. And that was really nice. I am a terrible salesman, the worst salesman out there, I'm sure, because I just want to get on the horn with people. And then before you know it, we're talking about hunting squirrels in Missouri or fishing in Florida, camping in Colorado. I talk about anything but land and, whatever. But it was, with the professionalism of everything else that went with the coaching, I was able to close a lot of deals. And I
think that makes you a phenomenal salesperson.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
I'm sorry. So we were just having this conversation before you got on, and I was telling Dave this story about when I got out of graduate school, and I didn't know how to get a job to save my life because I never had to do it because after college I went right into the military. And one of my mentors was giving me advice on how to get a job. And he said, Howard, when you go into that interview, you need to have a couple of assumptions. The first assumption is that you're qualified for the job. If you don't have that assumption, you're already dead in the water. Mm-hmm. The second assumption you need to make is that everybody else is qualified for the job too, and it provides absolutely no advantage. So
Exactly.
what you want to do is you want to get as much information into the hands of the interviewer before you arrive so that there's not much he can ask you or she can ask you. And then you can spend all of your time on relationship building because that's what closes the sale.
Yep.
And so what you're doing is you got a professional letter, it goes out there, and you spend your time on relationship building, and that closes the sale.
Yeah, actually, you come back to, talking about squirrel hunting and things like that. That's the number one thing in sales is building rapport, right? And so you build that rapport, you gain their know, like, and trust. Then the numbers become less relevant.
Yeah.
Once we go to pricing, and I don't want to do a sales podcast here. We've talked about this before, but once you go to price, you're a commodity, and it becomes all about price. It becomes about, building that rapport and getting them to know, like, and trust you, and then, figuring out what their need is. But of course, there is the small part of you got to ask for the close, whether you're disposing or you're acquiring. You've got to, all right, so, Visa, MasterCard, or Amex.
There you go.
On the sales side.
Discover. Oh, man. Wow, that's funny. So, all right, Dave, you're up.
Well, I think we're pushing up on time here. We've pretty well covered your path. Do you have anything else you want to discuss?
There's something that Kurt said he mentioned it a little bit on the podcast, but he said it differently in the when we were talking before we hit the record button. And that was, it wasn't really on your first mailer, but maybe in a subsequent mailer, you ended up getting a deal that basically covered all of your coaching and all of your costs and everything to date and then some. And so just talk a little bit about that and how the process went to allow you to have a success like that.
Sure. So I did a mailer at another county out here, and I got a decent response rate, but this lady called me, and she lived up in Canada, and she had a fire in her house, and she needed money fast, and she liked how much I was offering, so we closed the deal. This was another one of those things where I think we talked for almost an hour on the very first conversation, and we talked about her land parcel for maybe 3 minutes. It was just, we talked about Canadian healthcare, we talked about bear hunting in Canada, we talked about her house fire, whatever. Anyway, I bought her property, and it was just a little 35-acre ranch, but it had nice recreational, it had a river going through it, whatever. I wound up selling that in just over 30 days after I closed on it with her, with just minimal marketing. And I made, in that one, that was enough to pay for all my coaching, all the marketing, all the apps, all the previous properties I had bought as well. So it was 100% in the red on that one, but I would already paid for all my coaching beforehand anyway. I always use kind of the coaching and the cost to enter the arena of land investing as kind of the benchmark for how successful a deal is, even though I probably shouldn't, but I've made up all the costs on my coaching and everything fivefold. It's been, and that's just in a year. And I've taken pretty much I haven't sent out a mailer in almost 3 months. And I still have a couple properties for sale, but I'm preparing a big mailer. I'd like to do flip. I'm going to keep flipping houses in Denver, but the market's getting pretty tough. So I'm going to just kind of, I think, do land for, 4 to 6 months, flip houses for 4 to 6 months, and just vacation as much as I possibly can in between those times.
I love it.
It's kind of a common story that we've heard. We've had another coaching student. I don't think we've had her on the podcast yet, so I'm not going to mention her name just yet. But it's a similar situation. Within her first mailing, she had basically covered certainly all of her coaching costs and then some. And then we had another guy, a lot some.
And then some.
A lot.
And then we had another guy who actually purchased coaching on a credit card. And in his first deal, he recovered all of his costs and then some. And
like
so I think
top of it.
what happens is a lot of people, and I'm going to put myself in that too, because I went through this process, and and I ended up doing the coaching, but it was a tough sell for me. I was not easily sold because it felt like an upsell. So it's like, I'm going to give you all this stuff, but and you think you're getting a lot of value, and then you realize it was all for the purpose of trying to position me to buy the coaching, and it just felt like a bit of a bait and switch. But the truth of the matter is most people that go through a course, if you find the right person, it sounds like you found the right person in house flipping. If you found David, you found the right person in land. Maybe. I know.
It's Dave.
Yeah, it's like I don't. Can you really trust people without hair? I don't know, but that's why he wears a hat then. But no, but seriously, it's a scary proposition because you're investing in yourself. And I was having a conversation this a while back with this guy, and he was debating coaching, and he was a doctor, and he said, "Well, let me do a couple deals first." And I said, "That's fine." I said, "Let me ask you a question though. When you were thinking about going medical school, did you say, let me do a couple surgeries first?"
There you go.
The bottom line is it's not about spending. You're not spending money. You're investing in yourself. And it's like anything, whether you buy a car or whether you buy a house, know what it is you want. Know what it is you expect from a coach, just the way you would know what features you want in a car based upon how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it to as a contractor, probably not best to buy a Toyota Yaris. Maybe you should buy a pickup truck. What are the features I need? What are they? Whatever. So figure out what's important, and then get the right one, but make the investment, because it's going to be really hard for you to achieve these kinds of results without it.
Absolutely. I love how you said that, invest in yourself. That is however much anybody pays for coaching, if that's going to give you more time with your family, a better life, a better income than what you're currently doing, who the hell cares how much it costs?
Right. Well, and to give the devil his due here, you've been through it. You've experienced it. You've got multiple coaches. So your mindset is, yeah, it's always paid off for me. It's helped me hack and accelerate my success and minimize my mistakes. But for somebody who is just thinking about it, they're in a position where, let's say you're in a position out there, guys, you're not a successful house flipper and had a great career as a pharmacist. Maybe you're in a position where you're making 50, 60, 70,000 bucks a year, and you got a family, and you were barely making it before all this inflation. And now, it's like, gosh darn it. And to talk about, Kurt's experience with being a pharmacist, the harder he didn't make any more money, the harder he worked. And if you're, working a W-2 job, it really is true. Okay. You might get that cost of living increase, but it doesn't, you're never going to get ahead. And you got to find some sort of entrepreneurial way to have a side hustle to really get ahead. This is one of those things that can do that. But, if you're in that position where, you're really, you're not sure, and it's a lot of money to go out there and spend, that it's a little bit more difficult decision. And you got to know who can I trust? Is this real? And you go through all those emotional things. So, and everybody has to go through their process. And, just hearing success stories like yourself and other people who've done it, that's all we can do is just be real. And I do this because of what it's done for my life. And I want to be able to give back and help people who are in these situations to be successful and, make a difference in their life, spend time with their families.
Absolutely. Hey, one other aspect of this, though, is how did you and Dave meet?
at a RIA?
Ale. So at the rig meetings, I also love investor groups, as along with coaching. I believe in surrounding yourself with people that are smarter and better than you. So I go to these investor groups, and I met Dave there, who's not smarter or better than me, but he just happened to be having a beer there. So
Awesome.
That's true, though.
that's true. Yep, we were there just having a couple beers, and
You can learn
talking
something
real
from a
estate.
dumbass.
And there you go. There you go. That's how we met.
Actually,
So-
we met. Didn't we meet at the drag bar before that?
Yeah, Dave was putting on a show. I walked in. I need to use the restroom, and he was.
That's actually why he shaves his head, because the wigs fit on better.
There you go. There you go.
It's kind of the news of the day right now, so I had to throw that in there.
But yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, so there's a role for the coach / mentor, but there's also community, and just being able to reach out to other people, a wider group of people with some been there, done that. And I did know that you guys met at a real estate investment group, and you also, when you're able to participate in the Land.MBA Smart Bar, which is our online mastermind, and both bringing great questions, but also helping other people out when they've got questions. And I just don't think that can be understated, because there's a role for a mentor, but there's also just a role for being a part of a community. Some of those people tend to be able to provide information because of the vastness of the experience, depending on the size of the group. They also provide motivation when, because we all hit, as entrepreneurs, we all hit lulls, and both in our energy, or we get a little discouraged from time to time when things don't go our way. And it's good to be reminded that other people are still going like gangbusters, that it's out there, and it's just a lull. It's going to pass like everything else. There's the accountability of it, and just networking and making friends with common interests. Put it all together, and it's a pretty powerful recipe for success.
I agree. Very much so.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, awesome. Thanks for joining us today, Kurt. I'll let you finish packing for your Ozarks vacation. So I'm jealous.
And if anybody out there listening happens to own a meth house, Kurt does like to buy meth houses, so
Call me.
All right. Very good.
All right. Thanks, guys, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for everything, Kurt.
All right. You got it. Thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, had a bit of fun, and walked away with some actionable insights that you can apply to your business. Dave and I have got some great content and interviews planned, so don't forget to rate and review, and of course subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. If we mention any interesting links or tools, you'll find them in the show notes. To learn more about Land.MBA, visit our website at, wait for it, Land.MBA. See you next time on the Land.MBA podcast.